There's a technology shift happening right now that's so fundamental, it's rewriting how computers understand human communication. Not next year, not in beta testing. Right now, operational and deployed to billions of users. And most people have no idea it's even happening. In the span of just days, the AI landscape experienced simultaneous earthquakes across 3 continents. Microsoft built its first ever in-house image generator, and it's already ranking among the top 10 models globally.
A Chinese fintech giant just open-sourced a trillion-parameter AI that's outperforming closed systems from Western labs. And Google completely eliminated one of the oldest steps in voice search, a step that every voice assistant from Siri to Alexa has relied on since the technology was invented. Here's what makes this genuinely significant. These aren't incremental improvements or impressive research papers. These are deployed systems that millions of people will use today without realizing the underlying technology just fundamentally changed. Microsoft is no longer dependent on OpenAI for image generation. China is proving that open-source models can match or exceed proprietary Western systems. And Google just demonstrated that the future of voice search doesn't involve text at all. What follows isn't just a roundup of AI announcements, it's an examination of how 3 different companies are approaching the same problem, making AI more useful, more accurate, and more integrated into tools people already use daily, and why their competing strategies reveal where this technology is heading next. When voice search stopped needing words? Let's start with something that sounds impossible until you understand how it works. Google just rolled out a system that processes voice search without converting speech to text. For decades, every voice assistant operated identically. Listen to the question, transcribe speech into text, then search the web for answers based on those transcribed words. Simple, logical, and fundamentally limited. The problem with this approach is that the transcription step, converting audio into text, is where countless errors accumulate. A tiny transcription mistake completely changes meaning. Say, flights to Nice, and the system hears flights to mice. Your results become useless. Accents compound the problem. Background noise makes it worse. And improving transcription accuracy had started hitting a performance ceiling where better transcription wasn't actually producing better search results. So Google did something radical. They eliminated transcription entirely. The new system is called speech-to-retrieval, or S2R, and it works fundamentally differently than any voice assistant before it. Your voice doesn't get converted into words anymore. Instead, it gets transformed into what's called an embedding, essentially a mathematical representation of meaning rather than a literal transcription of words. That embedding gets matched directly to information in Google's search index. The system doesn't care how you phrased the question or whether you used perfect grammar. It cares what you meant. Google describes this as moving away from transcript fidelity toward retrieval intent. They're no longer optimizing for accurate transcription of what was said, but for accurate understanding of what was meant. The distinction might seem subtle, but the implications are profound. S2R uses a dual encoder architecture, where one model converts voice into an intent-based embedding, while another model does the same transformation for web documents. Then it matches meanings instead of matching words. The system streams audio in real time, identifies relevant results, and passes them through Google's standard ranking algorithms. In testing across 17 languages, S2R outperformed the traditional speech-to-text-to-search method and approached human-level accuracy from perfect transcripts. This proves something counterintuitive. Understanding intent matters more than perfect wording, especially across different languages, accents, and audio conditions. Google's research also revealed that lower transcription error rates didn't always correlate with better search outcomes, which explains why improving voice accuracy had started producing diminishing returns. S2R breaks through that ceiling entirely by asking a different question. To support this transition, Google released a public dataset called Simple Voice Questions, hosted on Hugging Face, covering 26 locales and 17 languages. It includes recordings captured under varied conditions, clean studio audio, background conversations, traffic noise, television interference, so developers can test how systems handle real-world messiness. It's part of a broader open-source benchmark called the Massive Sound Embedding Benchmark, MSE, designed to standardize how audio-based AI systems get evaluated. The trillion-parameter model nobody expected While Google was reinventing voice search, something unexpected emerged from China that challenges assumptions about who leads AI development and whether openness can compete with proprietary systems. Ant Group, the Chinese fintech giant behind Alipay, just released a model called Ling-1T. The name literally translates to 1 trillion parameters. It's massive, it's open source, and it's specifically designed to compete directly with DeepSeek and OpenAI on reasoning and code generation tasks. Ant Group describes Ling-1T as a general-purpose model, optimized for complex reasoning, mathematics, and software intelligence. In practical terms, it functions as a hybrid coder, logician, and mathematics specialist integrated into a single neural network. What makes this particularly noteworthy is that trillion-parameter systems are almost never released open source. Training them costs millions. The strategic advantage they provide is enormous. Yet Ant Group made the entire model publicly available, a direct statement against the trend of Western companies increasingly locking down their most capable systems behind APIs and usage restrictions. Performance metrics suggest this isn't just a symbolic gesture. On benchmarks like Live Code Bench and the American Invitational Mathematics Examination, AIME, Ling-1T achieved approximately 70.4% accuracy. That score places it directly alongside Google's Gemini 2.5 Pro and ahead of DeepSeek, OpenAI's O1 Mini, and Moonshot AI's Kimi K 1.5. To achieve those results, the model used over 4,000 output tokens per problem, indicating substantial reasoning depth happening beneath the surface. Ant Group claims this isn't merely about scale or processing speed. It's about logical consistency that holds up under rigorous real-world testing. The model reportedly demonstrates superior reasoning coherence compared to both open and closed competitive systems. This is actually Ant's second trillion-parameter release, following an earlier model called Ling-1T Preview that the company claimed was the world's first open-source thinking model. What's happening here represents a clear strategic shift. China isn't just building large models for domestic markets anymore. By open-sourcing systems at this scale, Ant Group is signaling intentions to compete on the global stage, not as a follower playing catch-up, but as a legitimate competitor to the largest Western laboratories, and they're doing it with transparency rather than opacity. While OpenAI moves deeper into closed research, Ant is betting on openness and community contribution as competitive advantages. If Ling-1T maintains its performance benchmarks and gains developer adoption, it could push the entire AI development ecosystem toward more collaborative, open-source model architectures. One where trillion-parameter systems aren't hidden behind commercial APIs, but are actually shared with global research communities. Microsoft's Declaration of Independence. While China was open-sourcing trillion-parameter models, Microsoft made a quieter but equally significant move. They built their first-ever text-to-image model completely in-house, without relying on OpenAI or any external partner. The model is called MAI-1 Image, and it's already ranking among the top 10 image generators on LM Arena, the public leaderboard where humans vote on image quality through blind comparisons. Until now, Microsoft depended heavily on partnerships, particularly with OpenAI, for most generative AI capabilities. But MAI-1 Image represents Microsoft going solo in visual generation, and the results suggest they're capable of competing directly rather than merely integrating others' technology. The model is part of Microsoft's expanding in-house AI lineup, following MAI-1 Voice and MAI-1 Preview. This latest addition extends the brand into visual generation with a specific design philosophy: create images that feel authentic, rather than producing the recycled, overly stylized aesthetics that have become synonymous with AI-generated imagery. To achieve that goal, Microsoft focused intensively on data selection and evaluation processes, ensuring training datasets actually reflected what professional creators produce in real-world workflows. They collaborated with creative industry experts specifically to avoid generic outputs. The kind of images that immediately telegraph this was made by AI through telltale artifacts and stylistic uniformity. Early assessments suggest the approach is working. MAI-1 Image reportedly excels at photorealistic visuals, particularly complex lighting scenarios, bounce reflections, landscape rendering, and natural textures. It's also faster than many larger competing models, a critical advantage when users are iterating through design concepts. Microsoft describes the system as built for rapid iteration, meaning it can generate multiple high-quality images within seconds and hand them off seamlessly to editing tools. The workflow philosophy is create fast, refine fast, and maintain creative momentum without waiting for slow rendering processes. The model is currently being tested publicly on LM Arena, where users can submit prompts, vote on results, and compare outputs against other systems. This testing phase serves dual purposes. It helps Microsoft tune safety guardrails, something the company has faced pressure to improve since launching Copilot and Bing Image Creator, and it provides real-world feedback on quality and consistency. Once this validation stage concludes, MAI-1 Image is expected to roll out directly inside Copilot and Bing Image Creator, integrating into Windows and Microsoft 365 workflows where hundreds of millions of users will encounter it. The seamless integration strategy. While Microsoft built new capabilities from scratch, Google took a different strategic approach. Make existing technology feel invisible by integrating it into platforms billions already use daily. The company quietly expanded its Imagen 3 model, what they call Nano Banana internally, directly into Google Search through Lens and AI mode. The model itself isn't new. It's been operational for months inside Gemini and other tools. But this marks the first time it's been fully embedded into the search experience itself, fundamentally changing how users interact with visual content. This doesn't mean editing pictures directly on search results pages. Instead, image generation now lives inside the search workflow. Users open Lens, tap the new Create button, marked with a yellow banana icon, and can immediately start transforming or generating images without leaving the search environment. Describe what's wanted, make quick edits, or build something entirely new, all within the same interface. The rollout began in the United States and India, supporting English initially. Though Google plans expansion to additional regions and languages, it's not being marketed as a major launch, more like a quiet upgrade that makes search feel incrementally smarter and more interactive. Imagen 3's results have been consistently solid in testing. It handles lighting and realism effectively, keeps human subjects recognizable even after significant edits, and automatically applies both visible and invisible watermarks using SynthID technology, ensuring AI-generated images are properly tagged for transparency. It's fast, lightweight, and feels more polished than expected for something integrated directly into search rather than offered as a standalone tool. Google isn't attempting to reinvent anything revolutionary here. They're simply folding creative capabilities into the platform billions of people already use reflexively every single day. That strategic move might ultimately prove more impactful than launching any flashy new standalone AI application. So here's what actually happened this week. While most people were focused on whatever AI chatbot feature got announced, the fundamental architecture of how computers understand human communication just changed. Google eliminated text entirely from voice search, proving that understanding intent matters more than transcribing words accurately. Microsoft built its first in-house image generator, and it's already competitive with the best systems globally, signaling they're done depending on partners for core AI capabilities. And a Chinese fintech company open-sourced a trillion-parameter model that matches or exceeds proprietary Western systems, challenging assumptions about whether openness can compete with closed development. These aren't incremental improvements, they're paradigm shifts in how AI gets built, deployed, and integrated into tools people use without thinking about the underlying technology. Voice search that doesn't need transcription. Image generation built directly into search interfaces. Trillion-parameter models available to anyone rather than locked behind commercial APIs. The AI race isn't just about who builds the biggest model or achieves the highest benchmark scores anymore. It's about who can make powerful capabilities feel seamless, invisible, and useful in contexts where people are already working and searching.
Microsoft, Google, and Ant Group just demonstrated 3 different approaches to that challenge. And all 3 are operational right now, changing how millions of people interact with technology today. The question isn't whether AI will transform computing anymore. It already has. The question is which strategy wins. Proprietary integration, seamless embedding into existing platforms, or radical openness that enables global collaboration. The answer will determine not just which companies dominate AI, but what kind of AI ecosystem we're building for the next decade.